Welcome to the Couchboard podcast, where we naively talk about anything and everything for your listening pleasure. If your pleasure is listening to random dudes talk about random things. I am Colby. Yeah. I am here with Jordan.
Hello.
Who normally joins us. Max is out today visiting his Laser Lotus cult leader in rural New Mexico, so he will not be joining us.
Yeah, we can't pull him away from that thing.
Yeah, I think he's becoming a level 6, I think he said.
Wow.
So his essence will be stored in a lava lamp. But I actually don't know where Max is. I think he's visiting family or something.
Yep. Traveling the world. What are you going to do?
Yep. Anyway.
We'll still have fun.
Yeah, we'll have fun without him. So what's new, Jordan?
Oh, well, what is new? I'll tell you what has been bothering me is 2 days ago, I decided to grill something. Man, I feel like that's the only thing I do is grill or smoke stuff anymore. I'm sure the audience is tired of it, but hey, this is a little different. This one, we had a little skirt steak, put on the grill. We were going to do some tacos, And nice. So we did, and I had little thermometers in it just to get it to that perfect temperature, nice and red and pink in the center. So anyway, pull it off, put it on a little cutting board, let it rest probably 5-10 minutes or so. I'm like, all right, time to chop this up. So I go over and I pull the thermometer out, which I thought for sure was cool by now, but it wasn't. No. And it burned my index finger so bad, I haven't been able to unlock my phone because the little fingerprint reader's on the back, so I use my index finger. I haven't been able to unlock my phone for 2 days, and it is incredibly frustrating. So
burn the fingerprint right off?
It sure did. It did. It's real, man. It's all white and
you got Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raiders
yes.
of the Lost Ark.
Yeah. Yeah, a little Home Alone action.
Just
seared everything right out. So
little Men in Black going on there.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see what else. Can we keep it going? Did you got one?
No, I can't think of another burning your hand reference.
I think we covered them all.
Yeah.
But no, that's about it. I haven't been working on the bunk beds for quite some time. I mean, they're up, they're functional. The beds are on them, the sheets are on them, they're sleeping on them. But it's been a while since I need to finish them up. I need to sand them down a little bit, paint them. So I don't know. One of these days I'll get back to that. But
nice.
Not much going on. What about yourself?
That's good stuff. I'm almost done with the Skyfort 2 playset for the kids in the backyard.
Yeah, nice.
It's been a really long project, but I've got everything up except for the swings and then the roof. But I got the slide up, the rock wall up, the monkey bars up. It's looking really good.
Is it a solid roof or like a canvas cloth one?
No, it's the solid. It's cedar wood like the rest of it.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll probably be tricky, but
yeah, it's really freaking high. It's way higher than I thought it was going to be.
30 feet in the air.
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah, they are. I don't think ours compares to the Skyfort, but I mentioned to you we had someone put it together, and I'm so grateful that we did because it looks complicated, and it's still small, but there's a lot of moving parts to it. So
yeah. I felt that way at the beginning. Like, why didn't we just pay someone to do this? But then, as I've gotten through it, it's not that bad. Like the hardest part is like organizing all of the hardware and getting it out when you need it. Because you start out with seriously 35 to 40 bags of different screws and bolts and nuts, and so it's intense, but it's a lot of fun. Also been playing a little doubles volleyball for my exercise, which has been fun. Nice. Yeah, with my brothers-in-law. So
very fun.
Yeah, play on a grass pop-up court. I'm getting pretty good.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah,
we'll have to have a tournament.
Yeah,
sometime.
we're talking Val Kilmer shirtless in Top Gun. Good.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Not to brag. But okay.
If they don't have another volleyball scene in this new Top Gun, I mean, it's not going to be
What are they doing?
I mean, yeah, they just wasted $200-300 million is what they did.
If Tom Cruise does not take his shirt off and play beach volleyball, waste of a movie.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, And drive a motorcycle. I'm sure he'll drive his motorcycle.
He's got to drive the motorcycle on the runway.
Yeah, he does that in like every movie. So
to a song maybe as good as "Take My Breath Away," but not necessarily that song.
Oh man, the soundtrack, that'll be tough to beat.
Yeah, it will be. It was a good soundtrack.
You got a high bar there. We'll see what it's like.
It's going to be interesting. I'm still excited for it though.
Yeah.
Should be good. Anyway, that's essentially all that's going on with me, aside from being trapped at home at all times.
Yeah. I know. It's weird. It's getting going back into lockdown now. Everywhere it seems like it's just cases are soaring again. So what are you gonna do? Just stay safe out there.
Getting crazy.
Yep, that's for sure.
All right. Well, we without Max, we can try and keep this.
We can fill in what he'll probably say. That's what you think.
Yeah, we could speak for Max.
Something about Christopher Nolan. Something about what's the new one coming out?
Tenet.
Yeah. Tenet. Yeah.
Tenet. Yeah. Do a Max impression. Let's hear it.
Ooh, that's tough. I don't know. I can't think of how Max sounds. You got one?
I don't know.
It would be funny if we had a good Max impression and we just carried on a three-way conversation.
I know, right? Okay, so today's topic is going to be very scientific, the cutting edge of technology that we're discussing here. We are going to be talking about time travel.
With leading minds in the field.
Right, leading minds in the field. Total experts in quantum mechanics and string theory and how they affect the flow of time and space. Yeah. Not really. So, but just as a general, I mean, we just recently rewatched the Marvel movies, and like in Avengers Endgame, like when they talk about the time travel, it's really funny because like Ant-Man and War Machine are like listing off all of the movies that involve time travel,
right? Explaining
why we as a society think of time travel in this certain way because of basically pop culture has taught us that. So just a discussion about time travel. First of all,
well, before we go any further,
okay,
I thought they made perfect sense, and the Hulk was just ridiculous there. He tried to explain it away, like, no, it doesn't work like that. And I'm pretty sure he's wrong. I think they got it wrong.
You think Hulk is wrong?
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't grasp it like the movies they referenced do.
Right. But, I mean, who does he think he is? Doc Brown? I mean, come on.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry to derail you, but keep going.
No, I agree. So the first question about time travel is, do we think it will ever happen? Is it possible?
I would say a firm no.
No.
And that's from my, like I said, expertise in the field. It will not happen. However, depending on how you look at it, I don't think we will ever time travel and go back in time. I don't think we'll do that. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's natural. I think I would say, just looking at it, in the grand scheme of things, nothing is able, that I'm aware of, and I'm mastermind here, nothing is able to manipulate time like that. But the idea of traveling by way of a wormhole of some sort, that I could get behind. And I'm sure some critics might say that they're one and the same, but they're wrong. They're completely different. But I would just say that, no, I don't think we'll travel back into the past and meet our past selves ever. But I think as our technology advances and as our space exploration improves, this is centuries from now, but I imagine we could maybe get from one part of the galaxy to another, not just by shooting in a straight line, but by,
bending
space. Yeah.
Okay. I can feel you. I tend to agree with you. I don't know that we'd ever be able to go back in time via wormhole or whatever. But we do know that you could technically go forward in the future, right? You just have to travel really, really, really fast. because of relativity. So in the event that you can find a way to travel at the speed of light or near the speed of light, then time would run a lot slower for you than it would for everyone else. And then you could come back, and essentially that's time traveling into the future.
You're into other people's future, right? You would still be living at your same speed.
Right. Yeah. So it's not like visiting the future like in the movies where you go in the future and see what you do later. Like you are physically traveling to the future, so you are out of the equation. The future has gone on without you.
But that's still only relative to everybody else, right?
Yes.
You're still the same.
You are the same. And you travel farther into the future than you would have existed otherwise. So you get to see essentially how things turn out in the world in the future.
Yep. I checks out with me.
But then, it's also really hard to go that fast. So who knows if that'll ever happen.
Yeah. But one area I said naturally, I don't think it ever occurs, right? We have animals that live a long time, trees, plants that live a long time, but I don't think anything ever regenerates itself to a previous state, Like you can repair yourself and heal yourself, and so that you're, as good or nearly as good as what you previously were, but you're never really going backwards. But something that I don't understand, and it's weird because it happens to me quite a bit, is deja vu. I really don't get that. Like, you don't necessarily notice it in the moment when that like memory is loading, but once you meet that, come to that memory or however you want to explain it, once you have that deja vu, then it's like, I've done this before, I've seen this before. And that I just don't understand, because it's not just you feeling it, it's not just you imagining it, it's like, at least when I've experienced it, it's like you've pictured the whole scene that you're in, right? It's like,
yeah, you can like list details that are going to happen, or that you didn't, like, you're looking in another direction, you can say this certain thing is in this certain spot behind me, and you look and it's there.
Yeah. I don't get that. I don't understand how that. I don't know that there is really any explanation. Is there?
I don't know. We should look in. We should do an episode on deja vu because it's creepy. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I don't usually. The thing is, like, I don't usually get deja vu in like unique moments, right? It's like just
mundane stuff.
Mundane things, and so it makes you wonder if your brain is just compensating and hyper aware at that moment or something, and thinks it's seen it before because I don't know. It's weird.
Or does your mind just play a trick on yourself and plant that memory into your memory past and make you think you've experienced it before?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I don't know.
Look
for the episode on deja vu coming soon.
Yeah. We're going to have to do some heavy research for that. Yeah. Anyway, so if it were to happen, do you think it would be the Avengers Endgame with the branching realities, or do you think it would be the Back to the Future where time is like a single line and you're moving forward and backward within it?
I think that's how I've always thought of it, is you go into your past, but you don't want to mess anything up. I don't necessarily think that it's an issue that you see yourself like in Back to the Future. Like, that's a big problem where you can't see yourself. Mm-hmm. You might faint like, his wife does, Marty's wife, just because you're so surprised to see yourself. But I think you could probably reason to yourself and say, hey, such and such happened, and now I could travel back in time, and you'd be relatively okay with it. But so I just think that, imagine if you could go back in the past. I don't know. You might start affecting things and create a new timeline. But
that's the thing is, like in Avengers, it creates a new timeline. If you change anything, you've got a branching timeline where things happen different and the future ends up in a different direction. Whereas in Back to the Future, it actually changes your future, like to the point where he and his siblings stop existing in the future.
Right. Yeah. It's a tricky one. Because, anything you could think, anything that you do, it's like, a butterfly's wings, right? You could push over just something on your desk and that could affect someone picking that up later, and then that changes how they would act. I mean, anything you do could really affect and change reality, so you never get back to where you came back from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I guess I would say, if I'm really caring about it, you would probably start a new timeline, and you'd never necessarily get back to where you came from in the future. But I do just like the idea of how Back to the Future works, where you can go to the past and still skip forward to where you were at the present day, and only the one thing that you purposely changed is different, and everything else is the same. I like that. I mean, it's nice. It's cleaner to think of time travel that way, but it's probably not really like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely, from a storytelling perspective, it's like the easiest way to do it is you go back in time, it changes things in the future. Biff all of a sudden is a whiny servant instead of, still a bully. So
yeah.
That's for story. Yeah, that's why there's so many movies that do it that way. That Paul Rudd and Don Cheadle can list, like in Avengers Endgame. So if we say that time travel could work like it does in the movies, Back to the Future style, what would you look at in time and space? What would you go to? Where would you go to?
It would be, if you're not going to die, it'd be nice to go back and see some dinosaurs in real life. I think that would always be fun.
That'd be cool.
It reminds me of that it wasn't a movie, TV show, Land of the Lost or something.
The old one?
Yeah,
or
that's
the new
pretty
one?
old.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's a new one?
Well, there's a Will Ferrell movie.
Oh, no, it was a TV show that was on like Nickelodeon or something. Living in the Land of the Lost.
Yeah, I remember the old show.
Yeah. Anyway, and so it'd be interesting to see how you could survive, what it would be like. But again, I would just want to go there, see some things, and get back. I wouldn't really care to stay around with the dinosaurs. What else? It'd be fun to see. I'd have to really study up on it, but it'd be fun to just go back to those moments in history where we're not really sure what's happened, right? Like the pyramids, go back to see exactly how they were built, see how all of Egypt was, constructed, and because it's still kind of such a mystery to us. Like, we have some pretty good theories, but I don't know that they're definitive, that this is exactly how they were able to do it, or this is where they got the stones from and all that. But it'd just be fun to see those sort of historical mysteries and what actually happened back then.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's good. I mean, dinosaurs, obviously. You got to see a dinosaur.
Yeah.
The question is, you get to the Jurassic period, you see like a brachiosaurus, something mundane, a stegosaurus, triceratops maybe. You're like, that's pretty cool. Do I stick around for the T-Rex? Like, do I look a little bit? Is that something that's smart to do? I don't know.
It would be fun to see.
Yeah, it would be.
You could die.
Yeah, you don't want to be too greedy.
No.
Anyway,
what about you?
Dinosaurs for sure would be pretty cool. I kind of would like to see like where mankind actually came from. So you maybe like jump ahead a couple 100 years, like right when Neanderthal and Cro-Magnon man are changing, and to the point where humanity emerges.
Yeah.
That might be kind of fun to kind of see the actual progression there. Yeah. I mean, I think I'd be fascinated by the future. I would.
Yeah.
I would love to go forward and see what we're doing, and do we ever colonize outside of Earth? Do we end up completely destroyed as a civilization? Kind of what happens that way, I think, would be pretty fascinating.
Yeah. Plus,
you could always figure out which stocks do really well in the future and come back and buy a bunch. So, or sports games, bet on sports games and stuff.
Get a sports almanac, bring that back. Yep.
Yeah.
Genius.
Exactly. Yeah. Plus, and then the other thing I thought of was just meeting famous people, because historical stuff is cool, but it's like happens because of the people. So like you go back in time and meet, I don't know, Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
You know, go back and meet William the Conqueror, Charlemagne, some fun people. You'd have to avoid the crazies, but
yeah, it would be fun. One of the most poignant times this is like it's happened in media, right? Was so I mentioned before we watched the show Outlander. So that's about this woman through magic of sorts is able to go. She doesn't mean to, but she accidentally goes back in time 200 years and she's from like just after World War II, and so she goes back to like the 1750s or whatever, right? 1740s, and she's living there for a time in Ireland and Scotland, actually, not Ireland. And so she's just hanging out and she starts a life and everything, and then they eventually come to America. And they're like having a party. They go to a party, and like they're introduced to someone, and someone turns to them and says, "Oh, hey, Claire, did you get a chance to meet George?" And she's like, "No, I didn't. Let's see." And he introduces himself. He's like, "Yeah, I'm George Washington." And she stumbles, like she's like, "What?" like I'm meeting George Washington, like. Because she's English, but still, everyone kind of knows George Washington, and she's like stargazed, just starstruck because she's saying George Washington. It would be fun. I'm sure it'd be really fun to see a lot of those, people that are historically relevant to our day. But it would also be weird because then you'd start to see them in their normal lives too, right? Rather than in their, biographies told by other people that only read about them and stuff, right? So I don't know, it'd be fun, but probably one of those things like like meeting your hero, right? Where it just kind of it could fall apart for you.
Yeah, because what if you meet George Washington and he's like, "Get out of here, kid."
Jerk.
He's just like mean to you, and you're like, "Oh, that's a bummer." Not, I think you would. I'd also be like fascinated to know how accurate like pictures of people are. Like, what did George Washington actually look like? You look at the pictures and like he's got the white hair. You only really see him when he's older. Like what did he actually look like? How accurate are those pictures, I wonder?
Yeah.
And then one thing that I think I would have to witness would be the creation of the sandwich. If I could get into that card game with the Earl of Sandwich, when he, puts the meat between the bread and he's like, "Oh, look what I've done," I would stand up and start a slow clap.
You, sir, have changed the world.
Yep, exactly. Oh, man. That's what I'd like to witness.
That would be good. See, these are important moments in history.
Yeah, totally.
Or the first person to eat a lobster, right? Or drink cow's milk or something. Like, what were they thinking? They were rebels.
The first person to drink cow's milk. That would be weird. It's like, what happens if I take this and pull on it?
We have this over here. But what about over there? Yeah, I don't know. Be interesting.
It would be. It would be very interesting to see what makes these people tick. Nikola Tesla. I'd love to meet Nikola Tesla.
There you go.
All right. Okay, so now we've established you can travel back in time the Back to the Future way. We'd see some fun things in history and in the future. What would you do like differently in your own life if you could travel back in time? Like different hobbies? Would you pick up a different profession? Would you, I don't know, just try and watch the world burn? Well,
I mean, I don't know. I for the most part, I don't think I do anything different, right? But there's always those moments where you're like kicking yourself, like, man, if I just thought to buy Bitcoin when it first came out and then sold it last year, it would be great, right? I mean, if you could just do that one little thing that could change your life, or there's a movie. I'm pretty sure it's the movie Frequency, where they can communicate back and forth
across time. Yeah,
across the He talks with his dad over a ham radio, and I think he tells his like childhood friend like to invest in like Yahoo, and because this is like in the early 2000s, and he tells him to invest in Yahoo. Like it would just be fun to be able to get in on the ground floor of something is going to take off, right?
Yeah.
So there's plenty of new things coming around that could take off, but you just never know. So it would just be kind of fun to ride that wave of something that is going to be like a big hit or just really fun, really, I don't know, really, really cool.
Yeah. I could see
I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to think about because like at the state you're in when you're younger, you like, it's like, well, I wouldn't make another decision, right? I'd still probably make the same one. So yeah, it's hard to fathom doing anything differently. And obviously I wouldn't want to change anything that would alter like meeting my wife and having my family. So
yeah.
But when I think about it, like why, if I could go back, I'd just like stop playing video games. Like just spend your time like learning to do something really well instead of playing video games. Like learn to code in middle school instead of beating Zelda again.
The fifth time is enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like because like if you but again, that's like knowing that coding is going to be huge, which I guess smarter people that weren't in 6th grade at the time knew coding was going to be a big thing. But my dad offered to teach me how to code like numerous times when I was growing up, and I was always like, yeah, that's cool for like 10 minutes, and then I wouldn't carry on with it, and I wish I had.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to know those things you should have paid attention to. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, right? I mean, would it make your life that much better to go back and change some things? Who knows? Maybe.
I'm sure you could, but you might also do some damage because, like, if you choose not to go through hard things, then you don't learn the lessons from it, and that might be tempting to, do something different where I won't have to go through this difficulty, which would be better, but then you don't get the lessons out of it. So, who knows? It's food for thought. If you could, and then the obvious end of that question is like, what's stopping you now? I could stop playing video games and learn to do something else now. And now more than ever, because it's really easy to learn new things now as compared to when I was a kid,
Yeah. I know. I mean, best time to plant a tree, right? I mean, if you couldn't have done it in the past, you might as well do it today.
Yeah, better late than never.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does make you think about what you should focus your priorities on for sure. I mean, I've tried to get away from time wasting things, in general, and it's nice. Like there's just you have tons of apps on your phone, or I do, but like mainly only use a couple of them, and I don't know. I just found myself more and more just narrowing down the number of apps I devote attention to, right? Just because it does, you just sit and you're like looking at your phone, you're like, man, this is such a time waste, like I don't care to continue playing this game or just reading this feed, right? I mean, it's nice just to eliminate some of those more wasteful things from your life and focus on the here and now and your future. But I don't know, it's hard to do, hard to buckle down and just, especially when it's something you enjoy, like video games, right? I mean, they're fun. Yeah. They are fun, but sometimes they just take away from things better things you could be doing. Moderation in all things. Boom. Bingo. Being the key. Yeah. Definitely. I think that's good advice. All right. So now we come to the crux of it. The thing time travel really was invented for, to make movies and TV shows. That's right.
And it's really the only reason we ever thought of the concept in the first place. So what are some of the best time travel stories? We'll say stories.
Well, it's fun. I mean, to preface, it's funny that you're right. I mean, the only reason we would even consider time travel is because creative people have thought of interesting movies based all around, changing the history, or changing past and changing your future and stuff. I mean, it's interesting because I think it does naturally seem just so impossible. Like, there's no way I can actually go back into the past and change things, right? So, I think you're right. I think the only reason that we really entertain these ideas or put any thought into them, I mean, aside from potential scientific pursuits, real pursuits, is just because of movies. And it's a good thing that we have that kind of entertainment that does just get us to think outside of our own little world. And I don't know, it's fun. I've never thought of it like that, and maybe that's not true at all. But from my professional standpoint, I think.
Well, as a learned professional on the subject, I agree and take that for solid truth.
Yep. Without movies, we wouldn't care about time travel.
Yeah. But it does, I mean, science fiction a lot of times is a precursor to science fact. So yeah, it happens. And not always, but,
I mean, there's plenty of older books that you read and you think, wow, they were predicting the future there,
Yeah, essentially.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Favorites.
A favorite time travel movie? I mean, we've talked about Back to the Future. Back to the Future 1 and 2, out of this world. Number 3, it's good. But
yeah.
It's different. I mean, I think those are probably number 1, just because they're so based around time travel and how it could affect us and how neat of an idea it is. I just think it's fun. It's a fun concept that a scientist could create a time machine out of a cool car from the time and just be able to travel through time. I mean, it's just interesting. It's fun. It's a funny movie, so it's easy to get behind and easy to laugh about and have a good time with. So I think that's probably top of my list. Another one that's not total. I mean, it is, but the Terminator series. I mean,
yeah, that counts.
There's time travel, but most everything's taking place in the present. But
I'm from the future.
Yeah, they're trying to affect the future. I mean, Terminator 2 is just that's the pinnacle to that series. It's definitely the best one. I haven't seen the latest one, but maybe one of these days I will.
There's been how many Terminator movies are there now? There's like
5. There's
I don't know.
1 and 2, and then 3 was, I forget what it was called. There's 3.
Let's get a list here. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. Terminator Salvation with Christian Bale. Terminator Genesis, and then the newest one is Terminator Dark Fate.
Huh. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
they were fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think... I saw the one with Christian Bale and who's his face? The other dude.
Sam something.
Yeah, Sam. Anyway, it was pretty good, but you just can't beat number 2. I mean, it's great.
Nope, you can't.
Nope. And it's fun to see what the future could turn out to be and where our technology could get to potentially. And I don't know, it's interesting. And it does make you think about robots and how far we should be pushing science and technology, AI and stuff. So
yeah,
it's
true.
It's entertaining, but it also makes you think.
That's a good
It's a deep movie. It's a deep
Terminator.
Movie. Yep.
Okay, well, I have to agree with you that Back to the Future probably the pinnacle. Time travel movies. especially because it's like the focus of the movie. The movie is about time travel.
Yeah.
So and you just can't beat Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah. Marty.
The Libyans.
Yeah. It's
classic.
Power
They
of
found
Love.
me, Marty.
Good song.
Yeah, Power of Love. Huey Lewis in the News. Great.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Josh Gad reunited apart with the Back to the Future cast?
No, I didn't. I need
You
to
should.
look that up.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good cast.
It was. It was a great cast. Good shows. Number 1 and 2. I don't even know that I've seen number 3, but I know they go back to the Old West, but I couldn't tell you what the story's about.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like Doc has a love interest, and that's all I know about it.
Yeah, I mean they accidentally go back to the past, and I don't know if it's accidentally. No, Doc, after the second one, Doc goes back to the past on purpose, and then Marty tries to go back to get him, bring him back, but the car's wrecked, so they have to use a train, and Biff is a jerk still. Yeah, just
is that Biff or Biff's Old West ancestor?
Biff's great granddad or whatever,
who happens to look just like him. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one. One of my other favorites is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, a classic.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's they kind of did what we talked about, right? Go back to the past of what to see the people who would be just kind of most interesting, who've left a big mark on our history, and that would be fun.
Lure Genghis Khan to the future with a Twinkie. It's a great idea. Yep. Bill and Ted's pretty great. Timeline by Michael Crichton, the book. So this is a book. The movie was not very good, but the book is amazing. One of my favorite books. And that one's about wormhole travel. So traveling through a wormhole to the past. They can only go to one specific place in the past. But it's very cool. Very good book.
Let's look into it. Mentioned Frequency. Thought that was pretty good.
I liked Frequency.
Yeah, different way of time travel, right? Communications, right? It was good. Dennis Quaid, he was great. Yeah. And who's his face?
Jim Caviezel.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah, and that one's kind of easier to fathom that like somehow the radio waves travel at the speed of light or something to where you can communicate that way. It's much more realistic than sending an actual person.
Yeah.
But that also followed the Back to the Future model where spoilers for Frequency. He does things. He warns his dad to do things in the past where he had actually died young in the past, and then in the end he changes those things so that he's actually alive in the future.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Yeah, because they're trying to solve. Well, they don't mean to. Something happened. Well, they did change. They changed something, and then his mom, Dennis Quaid's wife, dies for some reason. So they have to fix that.
Oh, that's right. And
they do. So she was murdered.
Yeah, and then they fix it so that both the parents are alive still. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep, that's a good one.
It's a great movie. Doctor Who. Have you ever watched Doctor Who?
I haven't dove in.
It's all about traveling through space and time, and it's wacky and not necessarily supposed to be meant seriously, but it's kind of fun. They do the thing where you travel back in time and can see yourself back in time, and that causes problems. But it's that one's pretty fun. They go to wacky futures and prevent crazy things or just witness things in history. So the same writer who originally worked on Doctor Who back in the old Doctor Who days wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series of books, which is also phenomenal. The second one is The Restaurant at the End of the Universe. And that's a really fun one.
Is it time travel, though?
Yeah. Spoiler alert again if you haven't read the second Hitchhiker's Guide book. But the restaurant at the end of the universe isn't at the physical end of the universe. It's at the end of the universe in time. Yeah, so you travel through time to the end of the universe and you eat at this restaurant and can watch it end.
Yeah. That's funny.
And the cow that you're going to eat, like the steak you're going to eat, comes out and talks to you to ask you how you want him prepared and stuff. That's pretty cool.
That's funny. That's funny. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Yeah. That's right, where he swaps places with the samurai.
They go back to being samurai. Yeah. Don't remember it all that much.
I don't really either.
Besides that plot point, but man, those turtle movies were pretty darn good.
Those were pretty good movies.
Another one that's interesting. That I don't know that it got a ton of good reviews or anything, but the Tom Cruise one, the Edge of Tomorrow. I think it's called Edge of Tomorrow, and then I think sometimes it's called
Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. Like I'd heard that it wasn't getting like great reviews, but then I watched it. I was like, well, it's kind of interesting. It would be terrible. I mean, it's kind of like Groundhog Day, where you just live in the same thing over and over. Different take on time travel for sure, but it was interesting. I mean, I don't know how long it would take you to memorize exactly what you would have to do to, in his case, win the war, turn the tides of the war, so you could defeat those alien things. But I don't know. It just has an interesting take on time.
Well, you brought up a great one, Groundhog's Day, which I didn't think of. But that's technically time travel, right? Because he travels back one day every night.
Every day, yeah. Yeah.
So that's a great movie. I love that one.
Yeah.
I love the progression of that one, like the depression, like the pranks, like the pranky attitude of it, and then the depression and the suicidality, and then like the self-betterment stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty believable.
I don't know. There's plenty of movies out there that deal with time travel.
There's so many.
Even your space and science fiction ones, like Passengers, right? I mean, in a way, that's sort of time travel.
Well, I've never seen Passengers. It's on my watch list. But like Interstellar, same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They use the concept of relativity to someone doesn't age and the rest of humanity does. So it's essentially traveling into the future of humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Passengers is just different. It's just one of those where you have to go to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Frozen or whatever to travel somewhere really far away. But going to Interstellar, that one, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. We'll speak for Max.
This is where Max would say, it's fine. It's a masterpiece.
That's right. He's a big fan of Interstellar. I mean, it was interesting. It was interesting, but wasn't 10 out of 10.
No, well, yeah, it's a space movie, and I love space movies, so I liked it quite a bit. It wasn't quite Apollo 13, but it was still really good. It was definitely better than Ad Astra. So
yeah, I mean, it is interesting to consider. I mean, I think we scientifically know that things work differently on different planets based on what is around them in space, right? And so it was interesting to kind of see that put into a bit of a reality rather than just concept. So, like with the water planet and stuff, just being able to see, here's a planet with water, but there's these giant tides or whatever that affect, you can't really live on it, even though there's water on it. I don't know. It was fun to kind of see some different worlds and how they might act.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. That's pretty cool. The other one that a classic, maybe, and don't quote me on this, but the oldest one I can think of that deals with time travel, A Christmas Carol, where, Ebenezer Scrooge gets to visit his past and his future.
Yeah.
So
that even makes me think of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of similar. So
yeah,
it just gives you another perspective, right? I mean, both of those movies I think are geared towards letting you see what your life might play out to be and how you can change things. And the perspective thing I think is the big key there. You get to see your past, remember where you came from, but also look at where you might end up if you keep on your current course. So George Bailey.
Yeah. Anyway, And then Avengers Endgame. I love Avengers Endgame, and I do think that the multiple timelines theory, where you create branching different realities, is probably the way time travel would work were it possible. So for that, it goes. I put it on the list.
But how? I love it. Okay, I will say I do love Endgame and Infinity War, and I think it was perfect. It was a perfect way to cap off all Marvel movies that I will probably ever see. But it was confusing that they all had their different missions, and so they went and did their missions. But wouldn't they all be affecting each other? You know, if the idea is, well, once you change something in the past, you make a new timeline. Wouldn't you be affecting other people's timelines, like, actively, even though their plan was to go back and put everything back to where it was, right?
That's the part that doesn't make sense to me, is going back and putting everything back.
Yeah, what's the point of putting
that
it back?
That doesn't seem like, I mean, it would help the people in those timelines, but it doesn't seem like it would stop the timeline from existing. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Especially if you go back, to the 50s or 60s, and where Tony and Cap go back and they take is that the Tesseract one?
And the Pym particles.
If they take that, wouldn't all that research be disrupted, and that start to trickle down to other advances that military made, and start to affect the timelines down the road that other Avengers were going to do? Wouldn't it affect it somehow so that the timeline they thought they were going back to would be different?
That could be. But I think each time they do it, they're creating a unique timeline, right? So
running in parallel?
Yeah, that branch off, right? So when they did that, then it branches off at that point in the 1960s or whatever. And then you have that timeline where they don't have the Tesseract and come up with all that stuff, which creates a very different future that no one knows about because it didn't exist until then. So I think each time created a separate timeline.
Huh.
Each time they go back in time to change things, yeah.
And then the idea is Cap went back and changed everything.
So, no, Cap went back and put all the stones back where they were supposed to go. But
yeah,
I don't know. Wouldn't that just create twice as many timelines? I feel like that's what it would do. So that would then create even more timelines where the Infinity Stone was taken and then put back. So it wouldn't be that different than the actual timeline, but it would be still even more timelines.
That's what threw me off. When Hulk explained it, no, that's not how, the world doesn't work like Back to the Future or whatever. That, it didn't make sense to me. And then I was like, okay, whatever. I'll get on board with what he's saying. But then he's talking to Sorcerer Supreme, and he's like, well, we'll just come back and put everything back. But I'm like, well, it seems like you're just going back to, anyway.
Yeah.
It seems like you're going back to the other idea of time travel that you said was false.
Yeah.
Still a good movie.
I kind of thought it was just BSing so that she would give him the stone. Just making it up on the spot. I don't know why she actually went along with it, though.
Yeah. Interesting. Good movie. Good movie.
Definitely. Reminds me of the Darkest Timeline from Community. The different timelines episode.
Yeah. Oh, that show. Good show.
Good stuff. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Zelda. Basically all Zelda games deal with time travel. Pretty awesome games. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed.
Oh, that's a great time travel game. Yeah, and that's a weird one, right? Because they're just I can't remember. They're just reliving those memories. But what if they do something different than their ancestor did? I don't think it actually changes history. They're not actually doing things in history. It's just a simulation that looks exactly like history, unless I'm totally wrong.
I don't know.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I've played any of those games.
Yeah.
And they got more and more just about the fight and stuff instead of the story and the science behind it. So, yeah, but good stuff. Any last thoughts about time travel?
I'm trying to think if there's any remarkable TV shows. I'm sure there are. It is fun. I mean, we could rattle them off, I'm sure, but it is fun, like we said, to think that I don't think that we would really be... It's such a far-fetched idea to think about time travel. I think without media introducing that idea, I don't think we would care nearly as much about it, or we wouldn't continue to make more and more movies about it, or TV shows about it, if it wasn't for someone just throwing that idea out there and starting to entertain it, or entertain people with that idea. So I don't know, and who knows? Maybe one day we will get to a point where we can manipulate time and space. One day. And then people will look back at the Couchboard podcast that said they nailed it, and we'll be the Bill and Teds of the future.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it now.
Yeah.
Because we are experts, so we will be recognized as such.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to our time travel rant. Please subscribe, leave us a review. You can find us on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Anchor, yada yada. All these fun ones. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at The Couchboard. Drop us an email. Tell us what you think about time travel. Does it work like Back to the Future, or does it work like Avengers Endgame? Let us know. And we shall see you next time.
Bye. Thank you.
See ya.